Hello everyone. This is the first video of the video series that would be taking you along how to work in MS Excel. And as many of you might know already, MS Excel or Microsoft Excel is one of the software packages that come with the Microsoft Excel package. So it's basically a platform where you can create worksheets or spreadsheets, and you can find it compatible with Windows or Mac OS or Android or iOS. So it's quite a flexible kind of a thing that can be used across various operating systems and all. It features calculation and graphing tools or pivot tables and macro programming languages called Visual Basic for applications. So if you know Visual Basic and you can write macros, it makes MS Excel an even more powerful tool. It has been very widely applied spreadsheet for these platforms, especially since back in 90s, the version 5. And before that, used to have Lotus 123 as for spreadsheets. But since the arrival of Microsoft Office, it has taken over. So it's one of the most popular platforms, and this is how it looks like. This is a typical MS Excel screen. This is the one I'm using is Microsoft Office 365. You can have Microsoft Office 2013 or 16 or any version onwards because they are similar looking, and the previous versions are a bit different. So you may struggle if you are using one of those older versions. Anyway, this is a typical MS Excel screen. These are called tabs: File tab, Home tab, Insert tab, Page layout, Formulas, Data, Review, View, Help. And then there's this option, Office Remote. Most of you may not have this because this is an add-on that I've installed. I don't use it frequently when I'm using MS Excel, but when I'm using Microsoft PowerPoint, I would use this Office Remote option. And I would have the Microsoft Office Remote app in my phone as well. So it's a good thing. It's a great tool to use when I'm giving presentations. So these are all termed as tabs, and so I'm clicking different tabs, and you can see the options changing. Now this region is termed as ribbon. So when I click the Home tab, I'll get to see the ribbon for Home tab. When I get to click the Insert tab, I'll get to see the options for Insert ribbon, and so on. So these are all ribbons, and these are the tabs. In the previous version, and still in a lot of options, instead of tabs, you would have drop-down menus. So you click something, and there would a menu that would pop up and drop down. You can click options. Instead, Microsoft has replaced that with tabs and ribbons. Along with the ribbons and tabs, you get to see the green one. This is called the Quick Access Toolbar. It has a few commonly used buttons, and you can change these or you can customize these. If you have a Microsoft account and you have signed in, like I have, you will get this autosave option. If you turn that on, your files are going to be automatically saved on your Microsoft account along with your local hard drive. So it's a good option. It's great for backup, especially because if your hard disk goes corrupt or something, or you lose your laptop, your file is still going to be saved at the Microsoft account that you have. We'll talk about the customization of this tab later on, but this is first we are getting acquainted with all of the terms and the common things that are there. So we've talked about the Excel screen, we've talked about the tabs and the ribbons. Now let's talk about columns and rows. So Excel is a combination of a lot of cells. For example, I'm clicking one cell, so it's this one box is termed as a cell. This is another cell, and you can see a lot of cells spread all around. These are all columns, so this is column A, column B. These cells that I've selected are in column E, and likewise you have a lot of columns, and the columns are named in terms of alphabet, so that's A, B, C, D, E, and so on. As far as rows are concerned, they are denoted by numbers. So the first row is row number 1, then 2, then 3, and so on. Now these columns and rows are named because we want to have addresses for a specific cell. For example, the cell I've just clicked in, this is called G3 because this lies in the G column and it's in the third row. And you can see that G is being highlighted here and 3 is highlighted here. Similarly, if I click H4, you see H is being highlighted here and 4 is highlighted. So this is a particular cell that we're talking about. It helps us in referring when we are making calculations or we are making a table or we are typing in data. It helps us in relating things to each other. These are all cells, and we've talked about the ribbon already and the quick access bar. A lot of people would call these as name box. So they will call this name box for the column and this as name box for the rows. I'll call them just column B and row 5. This is how I call them. And then we have a formula bar. So let's say if I want to add these two numbers, this is 4 and this is 5, and I want to add these two numbers, I would write a simple formula to add those and I'll press enter. Now we are going to have a separate session on formula writing, but for now, if I add 4 and 5, you're going to get 9. But you know, this cell, the G9 cell, shows me the answer, but not what's happening in the background. If you want to see what's happening in the background, you would have to see here, which is called the formula bar. And whatever background formula is there, that's going to be written here or shown here. Now, if you want to expand the formula bar, because sometimes the formula that we're writing is lengthy enough that we cannot see it here, you can just simply come here and press this button and you see this will expand. And if you click it back, it's gonna reduce. So you can play around with the formula bar. Okay, one more thing about the tabs is that sometimes we want more space here, we want more of the cells to be shown here. What we could do is we can just double click a particular tab and you see the ribbons are hidden now. And if I double click it back, you get to see these ribbons again. Another option is that you bring your cursor here and you press this button. You can also use this shortcut as being shown, Control plus F1, and that will collapse the ribbon like I've just done. And if you click it or you press Control F1, you're going to see it again. The next thing that we need to talk about is the scroll bar. So when you want to move around within an Excel sheet, this is the scroll bar that we're talking about. There is this up button and there is this down button, and you can click it or press it and hold the downward button and you'll move around, or you can simply click this tab and you can drag it up and down to move around. This is the vertical scroll bar, and similarly we have a horizontal scroll bar which is used to move horizontally, and again you can either press these buttons or you can simply drag this scroll bar. The next thing that we have is the zoom button, and you see if I want to increase the cell size in terms of visibility, so what I can do is, you can see here it's written 100%. Now if I click the plus sign, the size increases, and that's not the actual size, it's just the visibility thing. So if I want to make it more visible, I can zoom in, and if I want to zoom out, I can press the minus sign, but the cell size remains the same, the actual size. If I want to change the size of the cell, for example, here you can see that cell A is larger than B, C, D. That is because the data that I've written there was long enough and I had to increase this size. Now, what I did was I moved my cursor between A and B, this line, and you can see the cursor changing. When it's elsewhere, the cursor is different, and when I bring it here, the cursor differs. So what I'll do is I'll press left button and I'll hold it and I'll move around to change the size of a column, and similarly I can change the size of rows by using this option. The next thing that we need to know about is the workbook and worksheet. So workbook is like an entire book, a collection of worksheet. This single thing is called, it's like one sheet of paper, and this is sheet number 1, sheet number 2, 3. So it's like you have a lot of pages added to form a book. So a workbook would be a collection of multiple worksheets, while these are all worksheets. For now, I have like 12 worksheets here. So if I want to move around the worksheets, I can click them. And for example, I want to go to the last one, I can use this button and I can go to sheet number 12. And now if I want to go back to sheet 1, I can either click here and then select it. Now there's another way. You go to this button and you right click as it suggests, and it will show you all of the sheets there. So if I want to switch to sheet 12, I can simply select it from there, or if I want to go back, I can again right click and I can go back to the first sheet that I was working on. That's called Excel Basics for now. So it's another way of moving around with the sheets. I can also add a new sheet. So if, for example, I want to add here, I'll select 11 and I'll press this plus sign, and this will add another sheet. I actually added some sheets. So it's 15 because I had added sheet number 13 and 14 and then I have deleted them, but it's taking the same number sequence into account. If I want to change the name, I can right click it and I can click rename, and I can call it whatever I want. So let's call it test 1. And I can change the position of these sheets. So I can click it and drag it here, or I can click and drag it here. So these are the sheets, and let's talk about selecting ranges. So I have selected one cell. This would be a single cell that I am selecting. Now, if I want to select multiple cells in a column, this is how I'll do it. I'll hold the left button and I'll drag it and I'll release it. So all of the cells get selected. This is called a cell range because we have multiple cells selected here. Similarly, I've selected multiple rows, and you can see a range again selected, and this is a range again. So this is how you select a range. Let's talk about data editing. So if I want to change what I have written here, I'll double click it and you can see the cursor starts blinking. I can make the changes if I want. That's one of the ways. The other way would be, instead of double clicking this, if this cell is already selected, I can press the F2 button. Sorry, I've pressed F1 by mistake. So I'll select this and I'll press F2 button, and you can see again I can add it and I can type in whatever I want. The third way of doing that is just to click the cell and go to the formula bar and click there and start typing whatever you want, and it will start working. So there are 3 ways: double click it, or click the cell and then press F2, or just click the cell and go to the formula bar. The last thing we need to know is the saving format. So you go to File. I have saved this file already, by the way, but so I can, but otherwise you can use the save option. But since I've saved this already, as you can see here, I'll go to Save As option. You can see the file name and file type here, or you can maybe go to Browse to locate the folder where you want to save it. You can type it whatever name you want, for example, lecture 2 or whatever. There are multiple types here. This is the default type, Excel workbook. This is what we usually save it in, and the file extension would be XLSX. In the older version of MS Excel, it used to be XLS, and that's from 97 to 2003. So if you're saving it for someone who is using an older version, you are going to pick this. Otherwise, this one is fine. There are a lot of other options. You can explore them later on. It allows you to save in PDF. Earlier, you have to use PDF printers and all, but now it allows you. But for now, let's save it in this option and press save. I'm actually going to use the same name instead. So I'll press save, and it's giving me an option whether I want to overwrite, because I had already saved a file with this name. I'll press yes. I'll say yes. And if you hadn't saved it before, it wouldn't have given you this option. So just save it, and we're done for the first lecture. Hope you enjoyed and you learned something out of it. Thank you so much.